Hi, Internet viewers. This is Frank Rauscher again. The last video we did, we shaped this all out as far as getting the mantle out. And now what I want to do is show you how to mark out the bird as far as putting feathers on. And I'm going to explain this to you. And I'm going to move the camera down, so bear with me. And I'll bring it down. And if anybody needs any of the blanks like this or the patterns like this, please contact me and I can accommodate you. If you look at my email address, you can contact me from there, and then we can go from there. I have kits. I have the blanks, I have the patterns. If you can cut out your own patterns, you can do that too. So, and I have equipment, I have the burners, I have Fordham units, and if you need anything, or the micro grinders, I do carry those as well. So just wanted to let you know that. And we're going to move the camera down and I'll show you how to mark out the feather pattern. Okay, we're back at it again. What I want to show you is, I started marking this. This is the center line for the head that came back, and I'm going to heavy that up a little bit so you can see that a little bit more. Now, what I've done is I've made rows. I come out and this tapers and gets wider as it comes out. And out here it's just a little over 1/8 of an inch, and up here it's about 1/16. So I'm going to come out and I'm going to get wider as I come back. And these are like guidelines, okay? And I'm going to show you in a minute how we do the feathering. So here's the center line, and this is the one I just created, the other line. Then I'm going to come out about 1/16 more and widen out to about 1/8 of an inch across and bring that down. And then I'm going to do the same thing again. And you're going to have this. And again, 1/16. And I come right across the top of the eye and back. And then I have one going right through the eye, which is actually part of what I call the cheek. And then I run a line right at the bottom of the eye here, like this. I run one like this. These aren't quite 1/8 of an inch. This is just from the center to the bottom of the eye. This one is about 1/16, and then it widens and then pulls back. Notice this one rolls this way. This one's sort of going straight across. Then the next one down comes, and it's 1/16 here, it's 1/8 here, and then it rolls this way. And then I go another one, about 1/16 down, and then one more. Now, I do this on both sides. Now, what I'm going to do in here, all this feathering starts as real small in the beginning here, and then it widens as it comes back. Now I'm going to show you one that's done already. These are like feathers that I draw along here, and they get small. They're small up here, and they get bigger, and they're elongated slightly. Okay, so let me show you. I'm going to draw some on one half, and then you're going to do the other half as well. And what I do is I start out with like an elongated feather, just not real long, and I stay between the lines, at least I try to. And I come in here. There's another one. There's another one, and as they come back, they get a little bit longer, not that much. And bit bigger as you come back. They're like an oval almost in the back end and down to there. So that's the first row. So you can see it increasing as it goes back. Now I'm going to do the next row. These are real small, and I'm not trying to piggyback each one of them. I'm trying to stagger them a little bit so that they don't match up exactly with the row before it. In some cases it will, but don't worry about that. And I'm going to come in here like this and like this. Then I'm going to do the next row, same thing. It's an elongated feather. There, there, there. They're not quite pointed. They're like an oval. And then these get a little in tight here, so they get smaller. This one gets smaller and this one gets smaller, and so does this. But these up here, the first two rows, are pretty wide going back. Then I'm going to do this row, and this one, and this one. They don't have to be 100%, but you want to try to graduate them back and longer. And then when you come into here for these here, they can get a little shorter. And then I'll do this one. I'll come back here, do this one, this one, this one, this one, and I'll put a little one back in there. Now, in this cheek area, I'm going to come in. These are a little tighter, so I'll do that. I'll do one in the back here, there, and there. And they're really small because that's just the nature of that area. So they're smaller in the front, and they get wider as you come back. And they can get real wide at the back. And I'll do another one. Another one. Right there. So you sort of work them in, and I hope you can see this real well. And they don't always have to have equal spacing. You sometimes, like at the end here, you just fill it in. And then this little one here, 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 and here. Now I'm going to do that on both sides, but what I want to show you now is I'm going to go in and I'm going to show you how to burn this, as well as doing the same arrangement from the center line out. You have one line. This is the center line. So this is one line, 2, 3. I'm sorry. 1, 2, 3. 4 is just around the corner from the top. This is like a brow. Then you got this one. This one going through the eye, which is part of the cheek. And then these are a little tighter and not as spaced as they are. Okay, so I hope you can see that real well and get that approach. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to burn to get a certain effect. So what I want to do, just to explain to you before we go marching on, I'm going to get a piece of paper here and show you what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to come in And we have this ribbing, which is like this. I'm exploding all this a little bit. So you start out with a small one, a larger one, another one coming back, another one coming back. Now, in the very beginning where the beak is, say this is the beak right in here, and this is a feather bumping up to the beak. I'm going to burn deep on the leading edge and lift as I come out. I'm not trying to drag it all the way through because they're so small. I'm just trying to recess this area in the front. Then I'm going to do the same thing with this one. I take a shot down the middle and I flare to the right and flare to the left. And then on this one, I come out further and I flare to the right and flare to the left. Then I come down the middle, and I'm going to do this, and that's what we're going to try to do. And I'm going to try to show you that, and you get a real nice look. And the trick is, this pattern I was showing here, this drawing, we're trying to just recess the front end of the feather. So when you're burning, you're actually pressing this down as you press your burning pin in, and that makes this back end of the feather on the front one higher. Excuse me. Sorry about that. So here we go. I get it. I'm going to bring this up so you can see it better, I hope. I'm going to come in on the first one. I'm going to go right up to the beak, and I'm just flaring out. And that's pretty tight in there, so you're not getting a hell of a lot of detail lines. But then the next one opens up a little bit more. And if you notice, I'm really using the point of the burning tip. And I have a burning tip that's pretty tight. So I'm flaring out, and I'm not trying to burn the whole feather. I'm just trying to outline this edge right here. Like this feather I'm doing here, I'm going for the edge and the one in front of it. So I'm flaring out this way, and I'm flaring out that way. And I do the same thing here. I come down, and I flare out to the right and flare out to the left. And here's a bigger one, so you should be able to see this a little bit better. And I go all the way around. Then, I hope this is on the screen. I tend to walk a little bit as I'm doing this, and I apologize. So I will do some more here so you can get the general gist of it, and I hope you can see this really close up. I'm sort of flicking it out, and I'm lifting as I go, because I don't want to burn that dark all the way to the end. I just don't, and I'll show you later. It actually shows up in the painting, where if you do this right, you get a real neat effect. And you want to get these lines pretty close to each other so that you get a nice depression right across there. It takes a little practice to do this, but you can get a piece of wood and mark them out. Now, that's the first row. So I'm going to do a couple of rows here. You can't really do too much to the front one because it's so in tight that you're sort of getting some line work in there. Then I'm doing the next one. Then I do the next one. Now, as you come back, of course, the feathers get bigger, and you have a better chance of getting more shape in there with the burn. And if you miss a spot, you just go back over it again, you know, where you have a gap between the burn. But the idea is to, and you got to steady yourself too, because your hands want to go all over the place. So if you notice, I got my hand resting on my hand that's holding the bird. And you get a real neat effect. I'll do about 3 rows of this, and then I'll go on to the cheek to give you an idea what's happening there. So, and you're going to do all of them, but I'm just going to show you a few here. And then what I'll do is I'll come back on the next video and we'll show you how to balance all this out as far as getting all the wood burning done. So I'll do one more here. Like I said, you're coming right up to the beak line, burning it. Just make sure you're working the point rather than the whole burning unit. I mean, the burning pen. You're not trying to lay it flat. You're sort of using the point more than you are laying it down. And I don't know if it's me or what, but I could be steadier. And that's a trick for some people, because I'm not getting any younger. And I used to be real steady. I guess I'm showing my age. But stay with it. It takes a little bit of practice to do this. I used to think it was magic at one time. And then once I got it going, it really makes this look great. Yep. Let's see, where am I? Here we go. Getting lost in my own melee here. So there's 3 rows done already, and then you got 2 more in here, and then you go into the cheek. Now I'm going to start the cheek up a little bit, which is really in tight here. So I'm just going to give a couple little lines in there. And then there's the second row, which the feather gets a little bit bigger. And then just before I go into the eye hole, and when I come out the back end, I'm just going to fan it from the eye hole out. And I'm going to do this one. And this one. And if you don't drag it all the way out, it leaves a little white edge on the back end here, which is perfect. So you see how it still marks it, but because you're lifting, it's not burning it, like in the dark, I should say. So then I'm going to come in and do the next row. And the smaller the feathers, the harder it is in the beginning. So if you want to make them a little bit larger, just to help yourself, that's all right too. Nothing wrong with that. And the longer feathers and the bigger feathers, you have an easier time with it as far as making it happen. But what I'm really doing is trying to depress that front line. The tip is the hottest when I touch it first time. That's why you're getting a dark burn. And what it does, it acts like a shelf around this, so that this light area in the front pops up. And This is starting to come together now. Doesn't take that long once you get the knack of it. And it, like I said, it may take a little bit of practice, but you get a real nice look on this once you get going. And if you can't keep the lines together, come back right over it again. You know what I mean? It's not going to hurt to reburn an area. You're just not pressing too hard to get that in there. So you could come right back over it again. So I'm going to do the whole cheek here on the one side, so you can see the look. And then I'm going to ask you to do the rest of it the same way on the other side. And hopefully you can accomplish that. And then on the next video, I will show you how to put the other feather patterns in. And then once we get that in, we're going to draw them, just like I did the head drawing of these feathers right here that we're playing with. Then I'll come in right in here. We're almost done. These, just a spot, so I go back and hit it. You don't want to, you're not going real deep with these neither, okay? I'm sort of hitting and running. You're not leaning hard, believe it or not. And for my wood burner, not that all of them work the same temperature range, I'm using about a 5 right now for the temperature range that I'm working with, but that could differ with the unit you may have. You'll have to find that, but there's the look I'm looking for. Now I got 2 rows to finish in here, and that one side is done. And then I'm going to ask you to do the same thing on this side. So I would like you to try doing the other side, and I will finish this, and I will finish this so that you can see both of them. And like I said, just to do the count again, from the center line, I got 1 line off, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the center line of the eye, okay? And then inside the cheek area, which is this area right here, you got 1 that's from the bottom of the eye. You got 2, which is coming almost straight across. 3 is bending a little this way. 4 is bending that a little that way, and 5 is here. And then you have a little one down in here. And that'll complete it. So hope you got something out of this end of it. If you could burn both sides, and then we'll proceed on. I'll get you into the wing area, and I'll show you how to mark out the patterns for how we want to put these pockets of feathers on the next video. So hope you appreciate what you got here, and that you like it. And if you learned it, that's great. If you learned something, I'd appreciate you give me a thumbs up. And if you could subscribe to my channel, I'd appreciate that too. But this will give you a real nice look, and we'll see you on the next video, okay? And try to accomplish that before we go on to the next one. Thanks a lot, and I appreciate that. Bye now.